Welcome to Our Generation with Melissa Shaw, where we educate, empower, and inspire. And I am here with another guest. I'm excited to have partnered with Martindale and their cohort. That's how we met. And you went through their cohort, what was it, 10 weeks?
Yes, give or take, yes.
Yeah, so just
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about yourself,
All
about
right.
your business.
So, my name is Brandi Janae Carter. My business is BJ and Carter Property. I own, manage, and lease a fourplex. So that's one whole structure with four separate um, units, and I've been doing that since January of 2022. So Martindale, I was accepted into Martindale's CDC, part of their business cohort, where businesses can ensure that they are having those essential components
Yes.
to maintain and sustain.
Mm-hmm.
And so for the last year and a half, been really focusing on running things as a business.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people in this day and age very talented, but we struggle on the business side of it,
Mm-hmm.
which in return is why businesses do not thrive
Mm-hmm.
or last more than that 2 to 3 year.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. What made you want to get into real estate?
so got a phone call. It's I'll say this: God gives you a vision.
Mm-hmm.
So after finishing um, postgraduate, I thought about passive income, and the vision was given to me. You know, oh, look into real estate. Knew nothing about it. Not a lot of people in my family have their own home, so I do not come from family where home ownership is really big or discussed. I maybe have a handful of people who have their own homes, but my mother lived in the unit and had lived there for over 20 years. And there was a black seller who she had a great relationship with. I had a great relationship with her son because he worked at McDonald's as a manager and I worked there as a kid.
Yeah.
And there was just this relationship where she knew my mother and she knew my mother's children and their story. So she's probably known me since I was about 16 years old.
Okay.
So she called my mother one day and said, "Hey, I just want to give you a heads up. I'm going to be selling the property." I share with my mother, if I had this property, I would. Girl, that woman ain't going to sell you this building. It'll pass through her family,
Mm-hmm.
which normally real estate does. And so she shared with, her name is Miss Christian. She shared with Miss Christian. She said, Brandy said she wanted this. And she said, Brandy wants it. Brandy Janae wants it. And she tell her, go get approved. And
Wow.
that's how it started.
Wow, that's
Yep.
exciting.
So I closed on a Wednesday and was accepting rent for all four units on a Sunday. Did
Wow.
not know how to use a hammer. Did not.
Do you
So
now?
yes, yes, yes. I again through a lot of the courses, networking. I think in my recent class that I'm in, the best way to describe it is building and flying the plane at the same time.
Mm.
So that's
Hmm.
what I've been doing.
It's like earn and learn at the same time.
There we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. So, are you from here?
Born and raised in Indianapolis.
What high school did you go to?
Um, Went to Manual High School for 3 years. Graduated at Arlington. Was
Okay.
an athlete. Um, Played basketball. Had a full scholarship to play Division I basketball. So I left Indianapolis for about 10 years, and then I moved back 10 years ago. So
Okay. So, when you said you got the vision, kind of, what did that look like? Like, has it always been kind of an interest of yours? Or did this just kind of just like, oh, snap, like, I think I want to do that?
so I believe that vision comes through God's words,
Hmm.
thoughts, anything. And so to have that conversation with my mother about what I would do if I owned this property, to me, that's part of the vision. For me to look at passive income and find ways to say, okay, when I am done with the traditional W 2, what would you want to do to kind of
Hmm.
keep streams of income coming in? I look at that to be part of the vision that I
Mm-hmm.
had, but really did not look more into that.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't on YouTube, didn't take
Mm-hmm.
any courses. Like it fell in my lap just like that. And I think now I've been more vocal to talk to millennials like myself to tell them that if you are looking at home ownership, do it in a way that makes sense, like a multi unit,
Mm-hmm.
because you do not have to worry about paying for your own rent.
Yeah,
It pays for itself.
absolutely.
So,
I know I've been thinking about wanting to. My daughter is 19, and
mhm.
she's always been interested in real estate. But having something like that,
Yeah,
like, it's just
yeah,
so smart.
yeah, yeah. It's just something that, again, most people don't think about. I
I
think
wish I would have thought about that. Hell, I want
I
to move out of my house just to buy a fourplex so that I can not have to pay rent.
there we go. There we go. So I mean, and I don't want to make it sound like I thought about it, right?
Yeah.
It just happened for me. I think if we would find ourselves not in this situation where we're talking about this and I acquired that fourplex, I would have had my own home,
Mm,
single family home.
mm,
At the very least, look at a double.
yeah. Do they even sell doubles anymore?
Yes, I know a lot of them around the city. Yes.
Really?
So, and that's another thing. Once you know, once you get into something that
Yeah.
it
Is my
is,
phone not about to let me be great again? Are y'all still recording low battery? Of course it says low battery.
once you get into do something, you see it, right? Once you say you want a car, you
Oh
see
yeah, you're
those,
right. Yep.
right? So I
Hmm.
can't help but see
Yep.
anything but a double, a
Yeah.
triplex, and a
Yeah.
one. So yeah,
Yeah.
yes, we do. Now, what I've learned is Indiana, we're growing a lot. I mean, if you think about some of the major events that we've had,
Mhm.
um, at least in the last 3 years, you have sororities who have brought their
Yeah.
events here. I'm a
Mhm.
part of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, so we had our convention here last year. We
Mhm.
just had the Zetas Boule that was here this past
Yep. I
weekend,
saw. Okay.
and then the SG Rose had their 100-year
Oh wow.
celebration, I believe at the end of 2022. So
Yeah, that's a lot of movement in the city.
All City, excuse me, All Star.
Mhm.
So that has brought a lot of attention to our
And
area,
then aren't they building a soccer stadium or something? Yeah.
along with just the renovations that they're doing within the downtown area. And so
Mhm.
investors are interested to know about Midwest after hitting the Sun Belt and other cities.
Mhm.
So it's no longer about living in the same city as just going and buying that property.
Mhm.
So yeah, we are a hot target market for it, and there's a lot of property still to
I know
look
Fountain
at.
Square is coming up.
I believe Fountain Square has already came up, if you think about it, 2 to 3 years ago, and how now
Oh
you
yeah.
have the new court that's out on Southeastern, and so you
Mhm.
can see the extension there. You got Greenwood.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm 39 as of Monday. Blacks did not live in Greenwood.
Mhm.
You have a lot of blacks that live in Greenwood. They go out now to Cumberland.
Mhm.
And then we all know just the inner city, Hogville, 2G, looks totally different
Yeah.
from 20, 30 years ago.
Absolutely.
And down there, extending downtown all the way out to the fairgrounds.
Mhm.
So regentrification is real, and just opportunities are there.
I was gonna say, well, how you feel about that?
Um, I don't necessarily know if I have a negative view because I think that's the cycle of life. So to me, I look at Champion coming back as a brand. I remember Champion. We didn't wear that,
You're
right?
right.
I remember Eli,
Mhm.
right? You hear your parents just talk about these cycles. You hear songs that are rebranded or remixed.
Mhm.
And so maybe that makes sense for just how you see this difference of movement.
Mhm.
The issue that I have is just more the restrictions that they put on certain people,
Yeah.
blacks and
Mhm.
brown people, from the
Mhm.
GI Bill all the way up
Mhm.
to redlining.
Yeah.
Now that's different.
Yeah.
But if you're telling me, and also still has an aspect of regentrification too. But
Mhm.
I don't know. I still I would hope that when we, and I say we, black people, work hard to own a home,
Yeah.
that the importance of keeping that home is passed down through generations. So that
Mhm.
way, at the very least, you're renting it out and you're holding on to it.
Yeah.
But not also being stubborn enough to not know when to get out either.
Yeah.
But at least that's not the first
Yeah.
option
No,
to sell.
absolutely. Yeah. So, do you see yourself growing with your business?
Yes. So I'm in the process now of trying to scale it up, looking at government contracts, going back to just how Indianapolis has changed. You can't go throughout the city without seeing all of the apartment complexes that are put up.
Man.
When you look
Yeah.
at, like you said, the development that is going on in downtown, it and high rent. Um, we don't have any caps on our rents. And so after COVID, it allowed for landlords as well as banks interest
Mhm.
rates. And so it's created homelessness at a
Mhm.
higher rate,
Yeah.
so much so that the city is now looking through government contracts to work with private landlords to house people. So programs around the city are trying to partner to put people in their home, and that is a win-win for me. So I can now not have to worry about a traditional lease where I have to find a person to put in my home. I can actually work with someone
Yeah.
that will pay for that.
Yeah.
It's a form of another type of government assistance
Mhm.
that's not Section 8, but allow them to be able to come in or assist with any damages that may occur, or if they break the lease early.
Mhm.
Well, now I have a government entity that will pay
Nice.
a few months while I get it
Mhm.
re-rented.
Yeah.
So that allows for me to be able to put more equity in it and then scale up and do another multifamily.
Mhm. What has been some wins that you've had, or like, has it been fun?
It's been stressful.
Yeah.
It's been stressful. I think the wins are doing things like this that allow me to sit back and see what the growth is.
Mhm.
Because, of course, when you're in it and immersed in it, you're just trying to get to the next step. And
Mhm.
you often forget, wow, a year ago, where I was.
Yeah.
We talk about a year ago, recognizing I was not running my business as a business. That was hurtful to me,
Mm.
because then I recognized stagnant I could be, and um, what needed to be done to bridge that gap.
Mm.
So, um, although I've had a lot of wins, I think it has been more about just the knowledge that I get from Martindale CDC,
Yeah.
the partnerships with Unique CDC, um, Indiana Black Chamber.
Mhm.
Okay, you know better, you do better.
Yeah.
So now with this information, just like in your job, if you've ever been in management, you're sitting down and you're talking about what the quarterly goals are.
Mhm.
You're sitting down and you're doing a strategic planning and you're working towards that, treating that just like you would your business. So
Mhm.
that's a win for me. Trying to share as much information as I can with friends, family, whoever listens. Those are wins. And then being able to see my tenants or residents really say like, wow, it looks good. So
Yeah. You live in one of, so you live in one of them.
so originally when I acquired it, I did not, and then I had to move in, and so a tenant, he had to leave. He had to leave, and I moved in. So, but it's a renovated unit. I'm renovating as I live in there.
Yeah.
So I would hope that your next question would be, what are some of those hard things? Because that's one of them.
Yeah, I bet.
That's one of them. Because it's a sacrifice.
Mhm.
Um, I I could definitely stay in a 3 bedroom, but it's a moneymaker. So the sacrifice is bathrooms tore up, kitchen right now is tore up. I'm not having any guests over, right? I
Mhm.
don't get a
Yeah.
chance to relax or treat it as my own when you come home from work
Right. Yeah.
because it's an investment.
Yeah.
And then when that is done, I'm more than likely am going to go stay with my mom, finish it up, pull out the equity and do another one.
Yeah.
So those are those sacrifices that people don't
Mm-hmm.
know that you do, just to make sure that the additional money that I have continues to go into it as equity to be able to be pulled out.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. That's so. What was the biggest takeaway that you had from the cohort?
for Martindale,
And have you been to other cohorts before?
yeah. So a year ago, I participated in the Indie Black Chamber business cohort. Amazing, and but I can't lie and say I was not overwhelmed,
Mm-hmm.
because to find out, you know, you need to do accounting. You're a one man show,
Yeah.
and you think about, wow, I didn't do this, I didn't do that. So it was very overwhelming, but it put me on notice.
Mm-hmm.
Did great. I did a pitch. I was the third place winner with that. But shout out to Larry, Greg, everybody over there,
Mm-hmm.
Anita. Like, they are big about making sure that Black and Brown businesses can thrive.
Mm-hmm.
So the introduction, the awareness, now you got to do something with it. So Indiana Black Expo cohort I participated in this in spring, and that just took it up another level. And so with that was my business plan, really immersing myself into my business plan and those financial statements that I run away from numbers.
Everybody does,
And
and
then
it's so crazy, like,
what
cause
you got to
it's
know.
yeah, and it's never as bad as what we cast. What is the word? Catastrophize.
But even if it is,
Yeah.
now you know, so that you can work.
Yeah.
So for me, accounting,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not keeping up with those books.
Mm-hmm.
How can I get this taken care of?
Yeah.
What are my projections?
Mm-hmm.
So I know them,
Yeah.
but that up here doesn't help a bank.
Right.
Up here doesn't help an investor.
Mm-hmm.
So Indiana Black Expo really allowed me to walk away from there with a concrete living document and a business plan, as well as these financial statements to continue to work on.
So you've been to how many cohorts?
I'm in my fourth one.
Okay, no, and that's good to
Yeah.
know. So each one you've gotten something different.
Yes, despite it all having the same components that they talk about, I just think where you are.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, yeah, where you
Mm-hmm.
are in your business. So it's important to. So I'm saying this to say, don't think you go to one cohort, you're good.
Yes, no,
Like it's gonna take several probably
absolutely.
for you to be where you're comfortable now to be like, okay, I think I got my footing.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And finishing in the well, wasn't even finished with Indiana Black Expo before I jumped in Martindale CDC. And I'm gonna say this: I was very hesitant to do that. Already with a lot on my plate, I'll just wait.
Yeah.
And I had a friend that said, "No, do it." And I think that's important because elections are coming up, government is changing, the money that is pulled down from the federal government, it may not be here.
Yeah.
And so sometimes you have to take your bags and you got to go.
Right. Yeah.
You cannot say next year,
Yeah.
because you'll be like, oh man, I should have,
No, for
I
real.
could have.
Yeah.
And I'm glad. So despite having classes 2 times a week and doing everything else,
Yeah.
I was able to finish the third cohort, Martindale Brightwood CDC.
Nice.
And that was just a different experience. So, but coming from now into Jumpstart Indy, which is another cohort with Martindale, Brightwood CDC. Now I'm working on the evaluations of property, looking at a development,
Nice.
being as a developer, excuse me, different mindset.
Yeah.
So it's really about being a student.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not an expert.
Yeah.
And just seeing where I'm going.
Mm-hmm. I love that.
Yeah.
So, where from here, where can they follow you?
So it's another thing the cohort showed me. I would say Martindale CDC really helped me with the social media aspect of it. So being a millennial, I utilize social media, but I don't utilize it in my business. I've had the luxury of having fully rented units. And then with these partnerships, that's where I would gain my
Mhm.
residents.
Mhm.
However, I think there's opportunities for even situations like this where
Mhm.
getting the information out about acquiring
Mhm.
multi units and the problems that come with it,
Mhm.
the great things that come with owning multiple units. I need to get on social media and start that as a brand. And
Mhm.
so they helped me not even a month ago really craft what that looks like
Yeah.
specifically with how to have those certain pillars on social media.
Mhm.
So right now it is for the time being with a very, very soon to be released social media rebranding. We have my email address, BJ N. Carter, and that's properties with an S at gmail.com, where I can be reached at. But that BJ N. Carter Properties will be revamped into other social media handlers, as well as a little bit more about what it is I do outside of real estate.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. So, you're going to acquire more properties.
Yes,
That's exciting.
yes.
What is your projection?
For the end of the year, or
Mhm.
so the goal for the end of the year is to be back fully rented out with that last unit at its market rate, and then start being on more wait lists for new residents to come in. In addition to that, do more renovations with my current residents. I know that may potentially result in some vacancies, so I want to make sure that I have something
Mhm.
quickly to turn around, and then hopefully doing some major renovations on the outside to the end next year, 2 year, pull the equity out. And I am looking at the next project, and that will more than likely come with a few other people to help out with.
Nice.
This fourplex has been a lot for me.
Yeah.
And so this 16 unit that I'm looking at,
Ooh.
um, I've talked to a few people, and we have to be open and honest with each other about where our books are, but
Mhm.
that'll allow for us to put it together and
Mhm.
acquire more through that. So,
Yeah, no, I love that. So, anybody that's wanting to get into something like this, what are a couple things that you would share with them to remember, to know, to look for, to do?
so
Which I wish I would have known. Don't do it. No, I'm just teasing.
I really try to. I probably have done everything not to do, but that's not a bad thing. That's
Yeah,
just my
no.
story.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
something like don't jump into something that you don't know. Definitely did that.
Right.
And it's been fine. But again, I've been a student of it.
Mhm.
You can't jump into this and say, "Hey, I got it," and lead the way. I had to walk into property where I had to listen to what my residents needed, what my inspection report, and I had to say, okay, this is where I'm at, and how can we get there? I had to tell people, hey, I don't know what I'm doing. Can
Mhm.
you help? And I've been able to find grants,
Mhm.
and also been willing to sacrifice the time. I got a second and third job to help push a lot of that renovation. So family lives in my unit. That would be something that people would be like, stay away from,
Yeah.
right? But
Yeah.
we've been making it work, and that's the only reason why I acquired the property. So I don't necessarily know if it's something that you should not do.
Mhm.
I will say if you have the opportunity to prepare for it,
Yeah.
that'll be great.
Mhm.
Of course, YouTube is a great asset, excuse me, and then also just any knowledge that you can, networking, talking to somebody
Mhm.
about it, um, realtors, you name it,
Do you
just somebody.
recommend having a team that you? Because I know you said now that you're wanting to do like a 16. Are you? Would
Well,
you recommend people work together?
it depends. I'm very big on transparency. That's been how I've operated prior to this.
Mhm.
Um, I've been fortunate not to be burnt as much,
Yeah.
but and here's the thing, if I was in my own single family home and Joe down the street knew how to do flooring, probably would let Joe do it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not how you run the business. And
Mm-hmm.
so uncomfortable but necessary conversations need to be had about people's knowledge and expertise before they come in.
Yeah.
And so I think that would be the biggest thing. If you acquire some property, you really have to vet people. I do
Mm-hmm.
not work with anybody who is not willing to provide me a W-9. I do not work with anybody who is not registered with the state. I am of the belief that people who run their business in that way are more reputable and willing to understand the consequences that may come from doing bad business. My personal
No,
opinion.
I agree with that. I'm glad you said
So
that. Yeah.
that would be probably the big takeaway. As far as a team, hey, do the best that you can. If you know how to do some drywall, you can do some drywall
Mm-hmm.
until you can find somebody else to do
Mm-hmm.
it, and get two or three. I have two or three HVAC, two or three electricians, but it took time.
Yeah.
But that actual team that you're referring to would be more of us as investors that will
Mm-hmm.
come to the table, which have to share resources. So books have to be open
Yeah.
to know, okay, where's this money coming from? What does this look like?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we have this budget and we have this time frame. Does your company have the ability to extend that? If we were to get in a pinch,
Mm-hmm.
acquisition as well as potentially somebody's willing to drop out, what does that look like? So it just has to
Yeah.
be very, very tough but necessary conversations about that.
Yeah. And with that, it's important to have lawyers
Yes.
be be able
Yes.
to,
Yes, yes, yes.
help with that,
Yeah.
and navigate and
Yeah.
contracts and laws and all those different
You got to
things.
let the people know why you laugh, though.
I will let the people.
You got
I'm
to let
glad.
them
There's a
know.
couple reasons why.
Why?
One, because you already know I do legal shields, so
That's true. That's
I
true.
gotta slide that
That was,
in.
you know what? I forgot about that. I forgot about that. Yes.
Yeah, I
Yes.
can't get her as a client.
There we go.
I mean, I could, but
There we go.
she's her own lawyer.
There we go. There we go. I forgot. Totally forgot about that, Melissa. Yes.
No,
Yes.
you're
Yes.
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no,
So,
it's important. And I think that's another component that a lot of people don't. They
yeah,
they don't have that, and that could save you so much money.
it does. And so that's not because I am a lawyer,
No, no, no. Yeah.
but it really does because there are just things that, going back to how people operate and how they do business, it's different. It hits different when you
Mm-hmm.
get a phone call, or it hits different when there's certain
Letterhead.
verbiage that you use.
Mm-hmm.
It hits different when you can refer back to the contract because you understood what the contract said.
That part.
It's different when you can negotiate a contract different,
Yeah.
right? Hey,
Yeah.
I see, your contract calls for, in a leasing situation, it calls for a 30-day written notice to withdraw out of a lease. I'm actually wanting to extend that to 60 days. They'll look at it like, what do you know about? Well, this is
Yeah.
the reason why. I
Yeah.
actually need 60 days to know if you're going to be vacating so that I can get this ready. So
Mm-hmm.
that way I have enough time to be able to turn it around. And
Yeah.
so, and people kind of,
Yeah.
and
But
anybody who is afraid of that, you need to be afraid of them
that part,
because
absolutely.
business is business and strictly financial.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yep. But having a lawyer to help you know what
correct,
to say and how to
correct.
word things, like you were saying, is so important.
Yeah,
Yep. So.
that's good.
Well, thank you for being on my show.
Thank you for having me.
Yes.
I appreciate it. I
Yeah,
really
this has
do.
been good. I can't wait to have you back.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and please check out the Martindale cohort or any cohorts.
yeah.
She is a
Absolutely.
student of.
Shout out, Joy,
She is a student of cohorts.
Chanel.
So yeah,
And can I say something to myself?
yes, please.
Keep moving, Brandi. Twane told you today, even if it's at a snail pace, keep moving and be gentle with yourself.
That's good because we're not. We're
They're not.
gentle with everybody else,
Absolutely. Give
but not
everybody
ourselves,
else.
right? Like we the ones that we gotta. Let's say I lay down with myself
There we
every
go.
night.
And I'm
Like
just as mean.
you're right. Like I
Be
worry.
like,
What?
girl, and we'll give somebody two and three, four, five
Oh,
chances.
yes,
So
yes,
yeah.
yes. But no, thank you again for being
Thank
on, and
you.
I'm excited to see your journey. And you might have to give me some pointers because I definitely want to get into that field. I'm actually in a real estate boot camp now.
There we go. There we
So
go.
yeah. Well, this has been Melissa Shaw with Our Generation, where we educate, empower, and inspire. And I hope you've been inspired by her story. And just to go after what you want. And sometimes things will fall into your lap, but like she mentioned, the education and just really educating yourself on those can help. And always know you need a lawyer.
There we go.
I mean, you can get her, but you can get me
Got
too.
legal shield as well.
All right, we're out.